Hey, welcome back, Super Stock Bros. Today we got an interesting format for you. We're going to interview an Amazon employee and find out what's going on at Amazon. Hey, welcome back, Super Stock Bros. Usually we provide you tickers, what's going on in the market, but today we're doing a special segment on Amazon and Amazon's competitors. I'm joined with my co-host Ace and Godzilla, who is actually an Amazon employee. Nice hat there, Godzilla.
Hello, hello. Thank you, thank you. It's a special hat.
So,
Only the few can have it.
did Big B give it to you, Jeff Bezos?
He kind of did, indirectly. Yeah.
He did. Or he's just throwing them out. He's just like, here you go.
Well, I kind of have to like sacrifice and do a whole religious ceremony to get the hat, but it was totally worth it.
Okay. So I imagine you're pretty sad now with the news of Jeff Bezos departing. What's going on? What's going on at Amazon? Was it mixed feelings when you guys got that special email? Because it's a public email now that he like departed, and he's like, "Oh, guys, remember it's still day one." You know, he always gave that rousing speech of day one throughout his YouTubes. What's the ground floor feeling, you personally, and then tell me about your like employees and staff and colleagues. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I think personally, I personally saw this coming probably even before I worked at Amazon. And I definitely probably saw it coming, I would say maybe 2 years ago.
Sorry, how long have you been working there again?
Almost 3 years now.
Okay.
So in Amazon years, that's about 9 years. So, I'm hitting my 10 years now.
They really work you there, eh?
Yeah, average 90 hours a week, so it's pretty average.
Yeah, I heard, and can you correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard to last 2 years is quite a feat. Like that's most people don't even last 2 years.
Yeah, we hire about anywhere between 400 to 600 people every single week. So it's a pretty large scale operation, right? And when I say 400 to 600, we're talking about not even the drivers, but just people working in headquarters and head office and things like that. So it's a massive organization for sure.
So continue. Sorry to sidetrack you there. Continue on like the ground floor feel of Mr. B leaving. What's going on there?
Yeah. So I think one is, we saw that coming for a bit. First of all, this guy got a new girlfriend, got a divorce, he was living it, right?
Yeah.
And he always been that way. We have a very strong leadership team. Jeff is the face behind things, and typically, a big company like that, you always talk about the guy who started all, right? But sometimes we don't publicize the real people who actually build the things behind the scenes. So in Amazon, and it's very public, there's something called S level or S team. So they're essentially stand for senior executives that are essentially 12 people that directly report to Jeff Bezos.
Right.
And they are really, they run the ship, right? They've always have, and they always will. And Jeff is really the face of the company, and obviously the one who started all and recruited them all in many ways, right? So,
So, are you gonna miss him?
Yeah, I think it's fun to kind of see that. I don't think he's really leaving the company. Obviously, I think in my opinion, he's changing the title, maybe a little bit a good PR strategy in many companies. So many, if you think of Bill Gates, people still think of him as Microsoft, right? Even though that's not his company. Yeah.
Right, because he's like a chairman now. He's not the CEO. So,
Right.
Talk to me about his replacement and now, like Jeff's influence versus like now the influence of his replacement.
Yeah, I mentioned about the S levels. Those 12 people are all sharpest of the sharpest, right? They are. I'm pretty sure all of them are billionaires, just because of the stock and the shares that we give out to, especially senior executive levels.
Right.
The replacement, he is a true Amazonian, we'll call that, and he is really the grandfather and also, in my opinion, really took Amazon from a small internet company to the giant it is today, right?
Right.
He is the one who proposed and also ran the AWS Amazon Web Service platform since the beginning, and he's the one who brings, I don't know, 80-90% of all the money that Amazon makes, and nothing you see Amazon would exist without his work. So of the 12 people that you could potentially replace Jeff, he is the candidate. He deserves every penny of it and every responsibility of it. And also, he's very technical, and also very,
This is out
from
of
my
date.
understanding, he's very much a huge influencer in terms of, getting the right people together in a room and creating awesome products for Amazon.
Right. And then the replacement is Andy Jassy.
Yeah,
That's CEO, right? Or the new
that's right.
CEO. Yeah. So Amazon Web Services. So do you think then Amazon is going to grow with this guy at the helm even more so than they have? Because with Jeff Bezos, you got 188,000% return since he started the company. What can we expect, do you think, from Andrew Jassy? Better leadership, or what do you think?
I think the whole cloud computing platform, I know people probably talk about cloud a while ago, but I think it is still at a very early stage. And if you think about that in scale, uh, like right now, this platform that we're using on, I bet this is run on AWS. Like Netflix is on AWS. Every single website, almost all the website you on, tap into AWS one way or form. And to say AWS won't expand or Amazon won't expand, it's like saying the internet won't grow or something. So yeah, there's tons of potential. And I think on top of that, I think most people interact Amazon through what you buy online, but that's just only a piece of the business per se. And that's actually a very early stage. If you want to compare, and maybe I'll pause here, but we can dive deeper. But if you want to compare the e-commerce world of the United States or Amazon world compared to kind of the, more of the leading industry somewhere specifically in China, Amazon is still about 10, 20 years behind the actual standard of e-commerce. So in that term, Amazon has long way to go in terms of growth.
Let's dive into that, actually. E-commerce. So Amazon versus China. And it's not China. We're talking about mostly. Can you name a competitor that you think is doing a better job or better,
Yeah,
or more
absolutely.
than one? Go ahead. Yeah.
So if you want to take a step back, Amazon is a small company compared to the e-commerce in China. Let's put it that way. Amazon is almost like a customer of what Chinese e-commerce is, and we're just an extension of it. So if you think of that way, Amazon is always behind the curve. And that's something like it's unfortunate that most people don't know that, because most people don't get a lot of news about China. But in China, Alibaba is a platform. They do not have such a greater market share relative to Amazon, in US, where you dominate 80-90%. But they are a huge comparison, right? So Alibaba is a big one. JD is probably number 2.
JD.
JD is basically like they're imagine they're like the Walmart on commerce or e-commerce per se. And then the third one, this is probably the most interesting one, and it relates to what I think a lot of company that couldn't really tap into. It's called Pinduoduo. So that is the platform that really evolved in the past couple of years, that really took e-commerce to the next level. That's the third giant in China specifically. And that is actually challenging the number 1 and number 2 position in China. So Alibaba and JD. That's the future. And And for people who don't know about it, JDD is essentially one of the best e-commerce platform and the fastest growing e-commerce platform we've ever seen, more than Amazon, JD, or Alibaba.
So I'm looking up on Market Chameleon, which is a great site, Amazon similar stock comparison. And you said JD, this one here, right? JD, JD.com.
That's right, JD.com.
And there's Jimia. May have heard of that. So it says these companies, there's about 43 of them. Let's do something here. Let's do 1 year return. Boom. Overstock.com. We got Pinduoduo, the one you just said. Etsy. These are similar companies to compare to Amazon.
Sure.
Anything stick out here? You said you heard of Overstock? Is that something that Amazon competes with or comes close to what Amazon offers? You said Pinduoduo, so that we got that. JD. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to ask him, Ace, about Amazon competition, perhaps?
So I've heard of Jumia. Jumia is actually quite a strong recommendation from ZipTrader. He talks about it a lot, and he's been bumping it for, I don't know, must be at least a couple months now. Pinduoduo, actually, I think we talked about that at one point. All three of us. I think we did actually have a discussion about that. Actually, I think Ace, you mentioned it a long time ago as a stock pick.
You're
good
Ace.
one. Or sorry, Bub. Yeah, and then what else we got here? Yeah, Wayfair. Interesting. So, like when you're talking about these things within Amazon, Godzilla. Which company comes up quite often?
Yeah, I think when I look at Amazon, there are really two pieces. One is the AWS side, and one is the retail or e-commerce side, right? The AWS side, Amazon almost have a pure I don't want to use the word monopoly, but they are ahead of the curve, right? I think there's obviously competitors like Microsoft, Google, really just Microsoft. But those are fine. They're just, about a decade behind. And then if you look at the retail side, so Amazon retail is only e-commerce predominantly right now, right? And the physical retail is still dominated by who, Walmart. So I think the growth opportunity is that Amazon will tap into that, brick and mortar sort of setup, and also taking more online. So which we've seen is during this pandemic. So that's how I see Amazon as a company. Those are two big pieces.
So Amazon's market cap is 1.7 trillion. Which is massive, and the next closest company according to this website, similar, is BABA, which is the biggest online retailer. Right. So in retail terms, Amazon's still like king, apparently. But you're saying part of that success is attributed to Amazon Web Services, which I don't think these guys offer that web services space. That would be like kind of Google. Who else is like a big web services offering?
So, well, it's funny you mentioned that. So Alibaba has been trying very hard, actually, also expanding the cloud service. So cloud service is a fairly new industry, so everyone is trying to get a piece of that pie, and it's a huge pie too. But I want to caution, especially with people who are looking at stocks, the market cap is what we perceive the market cap is. It is not the true market cap, right? If you ask me who is bigger or more influence in the e-commerce world, Amazon is a pebble compared to what Walmart or JD or Alibaba is, especially Alibaba, because Amazon almost have no footprint or has no plan to expanding in China or a lot of Asian countries. And that's unfortunate because that's literally saying you do not want to capture the most popular, populous, and also most highest growth market in the world, right? So that's unfortunate.
So when you say that, I just want to stop you there and ask you a few more questions. You don't think they're going to do it, or do you know they're not going to do it? Because if you know they're not going to do it, then that's an interesting point. What do you think, Ace? Is that something? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'd love to know that. That's a good question, Bub. Another good question after that would be, what about the reverse angle? What about BABA coming into North America and stealing away market share from Amazon?
Yeah, should there be a fear there? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And then one more thing I want to ask as a future question. We heard about the Shopify craze and the Shopify competitor to Amazon. I never gave it much credence, and then I tried it out. Actually, both Bub and I tried it out for a dropshipping venture that we did, which was very interesting. We saw the power of Shopify, and we really do believe in the market, that market cap and the market share that they have. But we also know that Amazon is going to try to steal pretty much all of that if they can, by putting out warehouses and reducing the last mile and optimizing it, which you know of very well, Godzilla. So that's also something I'd like to hear about. But let's reverse a little bit. Back to the earlier question. Amazon in China, BABA in North America. Did China and BABA take advantage of the low cost of retail situation in North America? Did they just slide in there?
Yeah, let me take a step back. I think most people don't really realize this. So Alibaba is not just the e-commerce company, right? E-commerce is just a piece of the pie. In fact, Alibaba and Amazon, they're not even in the same category. So what I mean by that is Alibaba, its core business model is actually business to business. And what that means is, if you want to kind of explain in a layman term, is that the stuff you buy on Amazon today, you see all the people doing drop shipping or retailers who are selling things like Sony products stuff. They actually use Alibaba first, then they leverage that platform, and then they put it on Amazon because Amazon is available in United States. So think of it as like Amazon and Alibaba are growing at the same speed. In fact, it's basically, if you look at how the money transfer, it's that you got to pay Alibaba first, and then you pay Amazon, and then you platform here, right? And another thing about people think about what an e-commerce website is. So there's two sides to it, right? Any retail company is really essentially a supply chain company. That's what it is. Fundamentally, every single store is what we call a supply chain, right? One of the oldest industry in the world ever existed. Think of it as the Silk Road. That's what Alibaba or Amazon is, really. And then you have something called the e-commerce platform, which is the website, right? So that's what Amazon really good at, right? I mean, even if you look at Shopify, I don't know this, but I wouldn't be surprised Shopify uses Amazon services. I doubt they don't use it. So
yeah, there's no doubt they do. I remember actually reading an article about all the Shopify stores going down when there was an AWS outage. So it's kind of
exactly. So it's kind of funny, right? And then the supply chain side, which is very interesting, because Amazon is a new player in this. They never managed their own supply chain, and now they are, and which is very, very interesting how they do that, because Amazon is really taking a huge investment and bet that they will become the biggest shipping company in the world, which is incredible because in China, and this is also the same strategy in most e-commerce platforms, is that Alibaba, for example, they don't touch supply chain at all. Like they don't have their own driver, they don't have their own supply chain software. I mean, they do, but it's limited. And they have more of a partnership with the Chinese supply chain companies, which there are about, I think, 12 or 13 major ones, which is huge, right? Obviously, China is massive. Where if you look at the other markets like United States specifically, like you only have the USPS, UPS, and then there's FedEx, right? They have a sort of their trifecta monopoly there. So that's kind of the difference. I don't know if I explained that well enough, but that's how you view a retail company. Yeah.
Okay, then let's segue to Amazon 2021 and beyond. Predictions. What's going on here? Are they going to face, you saw that 1.7 trillion market cap. Is that going to increase? Is it going to get gobbled up by competition?
Yeah.
Do you see Amazonians go off and join other companies? What's the prediction and what's the ground floor feel?
Yeah, great question. I think, to be honest, this is more, I don't know this. I'm not a legal person, or I'm not that specialist per se, but I do think fundamentally Amazon and a lot of other, especially United States companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, they tend to have this very capitalist and very monopoly sort of a business model that is currently being challenged by the United States congressman. And if that is being challenged, and you will see large companies like Amazon, Google, and Facebook, and Microsoft will be broken down. And what does that mean? So China actually does this really well. China government is always very much against monopoly. That's why Alibaba doesn't dominate the market. They are not allowed to go build their own supply chain that way. It's a partnership, right? They clearly made these guidance that monopolies will not exist in this country, and they try heavily to prevent that. And to be fair, United States does a really good job doing that. The Rockefellers, even how the stock market was created was based on that foundation of making sure that we don't have monopolies. I think if Amazon or other large companies do become splitting per se as a company, I think it has actually a good thing for the consumers, but also good for the company, because I think Amazon is at a point where they're very much diversifying many different industries, and even without the whole, one leader owns everything, even without that structure, I think they're still set up for success. I think if AWS spin out as a separate entity, they will become much more bigger perhaps, and then the retail side might become even larger than its own. So that's kind of how I see it. But you never know, right? It's an interesting time that we're living, and I don't think we've ever seen companies, whole human civilization. I think there are a few companies that existed like this, and like I use the example of Genghis Khan with the Silk Road. I mean, he had that power, right? And he distributed wealth, power, and supply chain, and all of that. But that doesn't last long with a monopoly. So, anyways, I don't know, but that's what I see, and my personal opinion.
So to our viewers, if they're holding Amazon, should they hold now for the future, or start diversifying their assets out of it? Or, because Jeff Bezos left and they're not sure about like the future of where to go. We've mentioned Shopify, Pinduoduo, BABA, AWS possibly spinning off. Do you hold Amazon if you still have it, or the other person who's thinking about getting in? Should they buy now, or what do you suggest as a investor? Or you can't give that advice, just personal opinion or whatever?
Sure. Yeah, my personal opinion is, if you got some money to burn, yeah, buy Amazon. It's a no-brainer.
I don't want to burn, man. I want to grow. What are you saying?
You want to grow? If you want to grow, I mean,
our stock bros out here, man. They don't want to burn money. They want to make money.
Yeah, I think Amazon is a very, very safe investment. I think it's one of those companies that probably will never go bankrupt, at least in our generation, regardless what will happen to it. I think if you want really super hyper growth, yeah, these other companies, Pinduoduo, these other e-commerces, of course they're going to grow quickly because it's inevitable. Or Amazon had already opened the gateway for them. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. Yeah.
Would you ever leave Amazon for a competitor that offered you double of what you do now? Or are you a loyal Amazonian?
I have to say, obviously when the right opportunity comes, yeah, sure, anyone will take that. But I think you have to ask yourself, what does the other company offer more than just money? Because money comes and goes, and there's other things that companies might not able to offer you, such as its culture or its wave or its mission or just the people that you're working with, right? So I think that is it's always up in the air. So, but
I'm not fucking leaving.
yeah, I'm definitely not leaving. So
No, you definitely.
Um,
Sorry, I cut you off there. Go ahead. You
no,
definitely.
no,
are.
I was gonna say no. That's I definitely think it's a great place to work. It's challenging. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely for the 1%.
Okay. Final thing here. Did you ever meet Jeff Bezos or talk to him?
Oh, great question. You know, he did write me an email one time, but that's not something I'm proud of, because you don't want to get those emails. I have never met him, although a good friend of mine out of nowhere visit Seattle out of blue and runs into Jeff Bezos. So to me, it's just funny. And apparently a lot of people saw him that day, and there was a lot of Amazonians, and they're all like starstruck and saying like, "Oh, I work for the Amazon." And then he goes, "Yeah, I do too." And that's how the conversation went. So
Wow, good response. Man, I wonder if he has that rehearsed. He's like, yeah, I work there too. Get out of my face. I got places to be. Anyways, Godzilla, thanks for having us. Ace, do you have any other questions before we conclude this show?
No, but you know what? Thanks a lot for coming, Godzilla. It's nice to have an invasion that's positive once in a while, and hopefully you come back again.
for sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All
Well,
right,
thank you for having me, Stuck Boys.
Stuck boys, stuck bros, bro. You're a bro
Bros
too.
inside.
Okay, so guys, if you like this interview, please like, share, subscribe. If you want Godzilla back on the show, just leave a comment. I mean, he's a bro, so he'll probably be back anyways, regardless of what you say.
I'll be back.
And if you want to be on the show too, comment below, and we'll have you on. Peace out, bros. Let's get those gains, right, Ace?
Yeah, let's make those gains.